Chapter 586 Sacrifice for Her, Volume 43 The Ice Spirit Douluo and the Dragon Butterfly Douluo. This was Huo Yuhao's first time using the spectral door in the Sea God's Pavilion. This was really because he didn't want to alarm anyone. Perhaps leaving just like this was the best choice. He didn't even know if he could return. He sent Tang Clan into the spectral demiplane along with the bed before he silently left the Sea God's Pavilion. He found the Ice Bear King resting in a corner of the academy and sent him into the demiplane to protect Tang Clan. After this, he left the academy. When Xia came to Tang Clan's room, all she saw was a piece of white paper. Very soon, this piece of white paper was in front of Elder Sun, Elder Senior, elders and teammates. I'm leaving with Wutong. Wutong is not in a very good condition. None of us know what to do. I'm bringing her to find a physician. No matter what price I have to pay, I must heal her. She's very important to me. If she can't recover, I'm afraid that I can't face this world calmly anymore. Everyone, please take care. Yuhao. He sounded very calm, but everyone could sense the heavy fatigue in his words. They could sense Huo Yuhao's fatigue. Yes. He had been carrying a lot on his shoulders over these few years. With Tang Wutong around, at least he had a spiritual support. Now that she was heavily injured, Huo Yuhao chose to leave. More accurately speaking, he didn't leave, but went to seek treatment for Tang Wutong. Her recovery would also determine whether his heart would change for the better. This kid is really pitiful. His heart is too heavy. I hope Wutong can recover. Elder Sun shut his eyes heavily. Huo Yuhao had done a lot for the academy. At such a time, who could blame him? They could only wish him well. Ma Xiaotao silently stood beside Elder Sun. She also saw what Huo Yuhao had left behind. Although she didn't know what had happened, there was a resilient look in her eyes right now. Go and do what you have to, little brother. I'll shoulder your responsibilities on your behalf. Elder Sun, let me take over Yuao's position in the Sea God's Pavilion now that he's left. Ma Xiaotao asked Elder Sun. No one thought that Ma Xiaotao was doing this to usurp power. When the entire continent was in turmoil, power also meant responsibilities. Elder Sun nodded silently. All right. Ma Xiaotao looked at Xiao and asked, you are also part of the Tang Sect. Tell me, what happened to Yuhao when I was away? After leaving Shrek City, Huo Yuhao felt very relaxed. He hadn't experienced such a feeling for many years. Relief was perhaps the best word to use to describe his current feeling. Leaving everything behind wasn't easy. However, letting go was sometimes the key to understanding happiness. Was Huo Yuhao happy? He didn't know either, but he knew that he was relieved. It was finally time for him to temporarily give everything up. He really wanted to forget everything in this world and just protect Tang Wutong. If not for the fact that she was in a coma, he wouldn't have made up his mind to do something like this. In his heart, there were still many things he had to do. However, they weren't important right now. What was more important than Tang Wutong? Lights flashed in the sky as clouds swept past him. Unknowingly, Huo Yuhao was already flying at an extremely rapid speed. His yin-yang complement soul cores seemed to be even more compatible as he was in such a relieved state. They no longer fought each other, but seemed to fuse together through the yin-yang complement. Whirlpool-like soul power was generated in his body and surged before dissipating at high speed. This dissipation was almost nothing to Huo Yuhao. From Shrek Academy to the Clear Sky Sect, the distance wasn't considered too long. The Clear Sky Sect was in the Heavenly Soul Empire. More accurately speaking, it was now part of the Sun Moon Empire. Huo Yuhao was simply too quick. He was so quick that the aerial surveillance soul tools couldn't find him. But any surveillance soul tool that came within reach of his senses couldn't escape his clutches. He didn't even need to use any energy. Ever since he had killed that Class 9 soul engineer, Huo Yuhao had developed a new understanding of the Tang Sect's hidden weapons. It was really like going back to the basics. That feeling was magical. This was why he could still destroy the core formation of an aerial surveillance soul tool as long as he had a small piece of metal, even if the soul tool was thousands of meters away. From there, he could destroy the soul tool completely. It was a very refreshing feeling. Right now, Huo Yuhao was seeking such excitement. This was why any aerial surveillance soul tool he passed was unlucky. Many of them were destroyed. Sun Moon Empire Army. Juzi quietly sat in the commander's tent. Her SIM memorandum had just been sent back to the Sun Moon Empire's Radiant City. This time, she had lost, and lost badly. Just as the army retreated, the remaining members of the Imperial Dragon and Evil Tyrant Soul Engineer Legions returned. Just after they returned, the Legion commander of the Evil Tyrant Soul Engineer Legion immediately went to confront the Evil Soul Masters. There were less than 300 Soul Engineers left in the two Soul Engineer Legions. However, they were still as hostile as ever. The moment they entered the base, they immediately went to where the Evil Soul Masters were stationed. At this moment, the Evil Soul Masters were without a head. Douluo had disappeared, while the Evil Transcendent Douluo were either dead or injured. Their overall strength had fallen. A violent confrontation was about to ensue. When the other Soul Engineer Legions heard this news, they immediately rushed over to mediate. However, they also turned furious when they learned from the Imperial Dragon and Evil Tyrant Soul Engineer Legions that the Holy Ghost Church had ambushed those two Soul Engineer Legions. It wasn't their first day getting annoyed by Evil Soul Masters. This incident caused the entire base to descend into chaos. Even Juzi wouldn't be able to handle such chaos in the base. The eventual result was that almost all the evil titled Douluo from the Holy Ghost Church ran away. However, those that were weaker were all torn apart by the enraged Soul Engineers. This issue was blown up. What was the Holy Ghost Church? It was the national church of the Sun Moon Empire. Even if it was an evil Soul Master sect, it was still a holy church that protected the empire. Many of the Soul Engineer Legion commanders kneeled down in front of Juzi and asked for punishment. However, was it really possible to punish them now? These Soul Engineer Legions were her supporters. As a result, Juzi could only temporarily station the army outside the original Heavenly Soul Empire's borders. After that, she sent a SIM memorandum to await punishment from the emperor. It was only by doing this that she could reach the perfect resolution. Otherwise, there would be a revolt. Yuhao, you are really vicious. You always claim to be soft-hearted. Aren't you showing me your toughness this time? No one knew who had attacked the two Soul Engineer Legions from the hand that protects the nation. But how could Juzi not know? Huo Yuhao possessed both ice-type abilities and the ability to summon specters. Furthermore, she was the one who had personally told Huo Yuhao that the Sun Moon Empire wanted to attack the Douluo Empire. Yuhao, you're really smart. You actually guessed that I was going to carry out an assassination. Although you arrived a little late, you were still able to maintain your composure and use such a tactic to cause internal chaos within my army. Yes, you've gotten your way. This time, there's internal chaos within the Sun Moon Empire. Along with our low morale, we won't be able to attack anytime soon. Such a good opportunity has gone to waste. There's also news from the Douluo Empire that there's a surviving member of the Imperial family. This member fixed internal problems in Douluo City, so things weren't as bad as they were supposed to be. Juzi refused to believe that these matters had nothing to do with Huo Yuhao. Yuhao, this Yuhao. You are really much more powerful than I imagined. Have you finally matured during the war? I'm not sure whether it's a blessing or misfortune to have you as my opponent. Yuhao, no wonder I'm interested in you. Even though you've caused me a lot of problems, why am I still so happy? Is it because I've watched my man mature? In fact, I'm more hopeful that you'll become the ruler of the entire continent in the future. If that's the case, I'll do my best to help you. Our kid will be your future successor. That's the perfect ending I hope to see. However, I know that that's almost impossible. Juzi locked up all the commanders involved in attacking the Holy Ghost Church. She still had to do what was right on the surface. At the same time, she also convinced them. She was the leader of an army. Now that a problem had arisen, the blame would be attributed to her first. If the emperor condemned them, she would suffer all the consequences. Marshal, this matter has nothing to do with you. We are the culprits. You are the pillar of our empire. Without you, we couldn't have wiped out the Heavenly Soul Empire and caused the entire continent to waver. How can we let you take any punishment for us? A Class 9 Soul Engineer said agitatedly. Who would have expected the War God Empress to say that she would shoulder all the blame? She was the Empress. She was also the Marshal of the army. She could attribute all the wrongdoings to the internal chaos. While any chaos could be linked to the Marshal, the reason for this chaos could still acquit her of any wrongdoing. However, she didn't do so. This meant that she was willing to shoulder all responsibility. This left all the Soul Engineer Legion commanders and worshipped with a whole new outlook of this Empress. A Marshal who was willing to shoulder all responsibility was definitely what any soldier would want to see. Juzi nodded gently and said, I should be responsible for this matter. I was the one who gave the order for the two Soul Engineer Legions to attack the Douluo Empire. Accurate information can only be obtained from me. I can't report such a military mission to the military supervisor either. That's why the responsibility lies with me. All of you don't have to say anything else. Since I mentioned that I'll shoulder all the blame, I'll do it. From a profit standpoint, punishing me alone Tang can help to protect all of you, the pillar of the empire. Juzi sounded very composed. However, how could all the Sol engineers be composed when they heard her words? Suddenly, they all lowered their voices. They were clearly aware of what kind of responsibility she had to bear for this matter. By attacking the Holy Ghost Church, it was equivalent to causing a revolt, even if it was justified. The punishment for a revolt was the extermination of 9 generations of one's clan. Yes. By taking the blame for everyone, Juzi was indeed minimizing all punishment. After all, she held such a respectable status in the empire. This war god empress was once an orphan saved by the emperor of the Sun Moon Empire. Many people tried to scheme against him when he decided to marry her. An empress without a proper background was disallowed in the imperial family. If not for the fact that Shuti and Rand ignored all the objections, Juzi wouldn't have become the empress. Right now, her lack of background was ideal, because she was by herself. No matter how heavy the punishment was, she would be the only one punished. However, she was the empress. She was even the war god empress. Even though she appeared very calm, how could the Sol engineers be calm? We are willing to share the blame with you, Marshal. Even if we are killed, we will die without any regrets. A Sol engineer legion commander kneeled on the floor before kowtowing to her. This was a formality given only to an emperor. As a legion commander, no one could make him kneel on both knees except for the emperor. With the first came the second. Very soon, the entire tent was full of people kneeling down. Juzi kneeled too. Right now, she could no longer hold her cool. Her tears fell uncontrollably. Thank you, comrades, for your unity. However, I must accept responsibility myself. The Empire cannot survive without all of you. I only have one small request right now. I hope all of you can agree to it. The oldest Class 9 Sol engineer lifted his head to look at her. His expression was very fierce, but it was filled with sincerity. Your Majesty, please tell us. We'll do it as long as we can. This Sol engineer had already decided. At such a period of time, it was best for Juzi to bear the burden for everything herself. This was because she was likely to escape without punishment. After all, she had accumulated many merits. She might not die. As for them, they were doomed if they went to take the rap. The Holy Ghost Church and military law wouldn't let them off. Juzi said, with your trust, I can die without regrets. However, the Crown Prince is too young. If I die, there'll be another empress in the future. I'm only asking for your help as a mother. Please protect the Crown Prince and let him grow up happily. Even if he can't become the emperor in the future, it's fine. Everything is good as long as he's safe. Right now, Juzi appeared very cowardly, and was even filled with fear and sorrow. But it was also right now that she could truly touch others. The invincible war god empress revealed her soft side. Such an atmosphere was too much even for these iron-blooded soldiers. Another Class 9 Sol engineer suddenly stood up and came to lift Juzi to her feet. Marshal, we'll always be on your side no matter what. You won't die. No one will die. We control more than 2/3 the power of the empire. Shut up. The old Sol engineer appeared furious. Do you really want everyone to lose their life? They couldn't continue after speaking until here. Juzi regained her composure and comforted all the generals before sending them back to rest. As for how they were going to settle this matter, they were going to follow the original plan. However, she had obtained what she wanted. At times, putting herself in the soldiers' shoes was more important. By doing so, she could win them over. By winning them over, she could then win over the entire world. Juzi took a solid step in the attainment of her target. Huo Yuhao wasn't aware of all this. In fact, he just reached his destination. A thick snowy mountain was already within view. It was covered by fog, but the fog couldn't stop Huo Yuhao anymore. Even if there were powerful soul beasts amidst the fog, he couldn't be stopped. Gentle spiritual power spread, and Huo Yuhao sensed everything around him. He was like a spectre as he silently ascended Clear Sky Peak. At the top of the peak, Clear Sky Castle was still standing there as usual. Nothing seemed to have changed. This was Huo Yuao's 4th time at the castle. Every time, he had a different feeling. He felt the best the first time. When he first came, he was well treated by the 2 sect leaders. However, it was also here that he almost flattened the entire castle because of the Snow Empress embryo. What was most unforgettable in Huo Yuao's mind was that his teacher, Electrolux, had left him forever here. Wang Donga was unconscious the 2nd time, and he was the one who personally brought her back. Then, he was completely heartbroken. When he left that time, Wang Donga ceased to exist. When he came for the 3rd time, it was because he found out that Wang Donga had left. This was the 4th time. It seemed like misfortune followed him every time he came. However, he had no choice if he wanted Tang Wutong to recover. Huo Yuao didn't knock on the door when he arrived in front of the castle. He didn't call anyone either. He only just kneeled down in front of the castle. Not long afterward, the door to the castle opened, and Titan walked out. He didn't say anything to Huo Yuao. He only walked in front of him before giving him a kick. This kick threw Huo Yuao far back. Titan used a lot of force with this kick. Huo Yuao's body was like a shell, and he was kicked all the way out of Clear Sky Peak. Titan was merciless. Huo Yuao didn't resist either. The tremendous pain almost crushed his 2nd soul core. He spat out mouthfuls of blood. However, he still appeared as relieved as he was earlier. He returned to the peak and silently came in front of Titan. He kneeled down once again. He didn't say anything, and only lowered his head. Titan looked coldly at him. Of course, I don't have to ask him anything. The only reason he's here is because Wutong is in trouble. Judging from his demeanor, where is she? Titan asked. Huo Yuao recited a few incantations. Opening the spectral door, Tang Wutong was sent out and presented in front of Titan. Titan hugged Tang Wutong and returned to the castle. The door to the castle closed heavily, and a deep rumbling sound could be heard. No one came out from the castle after Titan entered. Huo Yuao didn't move either. He only kneeled there and waited silently. He neither ate nor drank anything. For someone of his cultivation, he wouldn't die even if he kneeled down for a few months. Furthermore, his injuries also gradually recovered under the effect of his twin soul cores. He only needed 1 day to heal completely. He didn't even take any medicine. He kneeled down properly, and felt much better doing so. He had no intention of returning alive this time. If Tang Wutong couldn't be treated, he would kill himself for her. If she could be treated, he had to see her again, even if it was at the expense of death. This was why he was kneeling down, not only to atone for his sins. He was also kneeling down to wait for results. This time, he wouldn't leave the peak no matter what happened. He was going to wait here until Tang Wutong was fine, or until she died. He was no longer sad. This was because he treated her as part of himself. If she was well, he would be well, and the reverse was also true. If she was a part of him, what was there for him to be sad about? 7 days and nights passed just like this. The cold caused a layer of frost to form on his body. Even when kneeling down, his soul power was still circulating silently. According to his estimates, his soul power should be around rank 94 after the gains he had made during that big fight earlier, and after he formed his twin soul cores. For normal title Douluo, it was very difficult to improve further after crossing rank 90. However, this wasn't an issue for him. The foundation set by his twin soul cores was too good. His improvement didn't stop at all. According to Elderson, he would at least reach rank 98 without facing any bottlenecks. Of course, it was also precisely because of this that he would face a life and death situation when he reached rank 98 and wanted to make a breakthrough to rank 99. However, this wasn't on Huo Yuao's mind right now. He had no desire to improve himself anymore. He only had one person on his mind. Another 7 days passed. By now, 14 days had passed. Huo Yuao had already grown a beard from kneeling there. He was even like an ice statue right now. His entire body was completely engulfed by a thick layer of frost. When the 15th day arrived, the door to the castle finally opened. Titan was still the one who walked out. Titan appeared very grim. When he walked out, Huo Yuao immediately reacted. He subconsciously lifted his head, and the ice cracked. Titan kicked him once again. However, it was much softer this time. At least Huo Yuao wasn't hurt this time. Although Huo Yuao was still a little sloppy and his beard was still quite long when he flew back, there was no longer any ice or snow on his body. Come in. Titan turned around and went back into the castle after he said these 2 words. Huo Yuao hurriedly followed him. He could no longer keep calm. His heart was palpitating. How exactly is Wutong? He didn't know. It was time to determine his fate. After entering the castle, Titan brought him to the main hall. He sat down himself, but didn't invite Huo Yuao to take a seat. Nui Tian was also around. He was silently seated in the main seat, and appeared even more gloomy than Titan. Wutong is not in good shape. Do you call this protecting her? He said coldly. Huo Yuao's heart sank. He didn't say anything, and only kneeled down. Get up. What's the point of having you here just to kneel down and kowtow to us? Even if you kneel for 10,000 years and become a turtle, will Wutong get better? Titan was furious. Huo Yuhao laughed bitterly. I only have this body of mine. I won't harp on what I've done wrong. As long as I can save Wutong, I'm willing to do anything. If I can't, I'll go with her. We'll go to another world, and I'll protect her there. Nui Tian's facial muscles contorted. Given a choice, I should have killed you the moment I saw you. At least we'd spare our darling so much pain. Huo Yuhao could only laugh bitterly. Nui Tian was right. If Tang Wutong didn't follow him, she might not have suffered so much pain. Right now, there's only one way. Nui Tian suddenly said, Ah. Huo Yuhao was surprised as he looked at him. There was immediately an angry look in his eyes. However, you'll need to make a sacrifice, Nui Tian said calmly. Are you willing to do so? I am. Huo Yuhao didn't even ask what the sacrifice was. He agreed without any hesitation. He was even willing to give up his life for Tang Wutong. What more could he not do? Nui Tian said, Wutong's body has been corroded by the aura of death. This aura of death has already fused with her spiritual sea, which is keeping her unconscious. The only way right now is for her to force this aura of death out from her body using her own strength. This is the only way she can recover. However, she's not strong enough yet. Huo Yuhao was confused as he asked, what should we do then? Nui Tian answered, if I'm not wrong, you already have twin soul cores. Furthermore, they're yin-yang complement twin soul cores. Am I right? Yes. Huo Yuhao immediately nodded. At the same time, he was astonished. It was important to know that even Douluo couldn't tell what his twin soul cores were, but this sect leader of the Clear Sky sect could. Even with Huo Yuao's sharpness, he couldn't tell how strong Nui Tian really was. Was it that Nui Tian was also an ultimate Douluo? The only creature who could tell that he had yin-yang complement soul cores was the beast god, Tian. Nui Tian said, if we want Wutong to force the aura of death out from her body using her own strength, we need her to form twin soul cores too. They have to be formed using the yin-yang complement too, so that she'll stand a chance of survival. The soul cores will also dispel the aura of death naturally. Neither myself nor my second brother can do it. Our powers are different from Wutong's. Our martial souls are also different. Only you can help her. We have a special method in our sect which allows one to temporarily project his soul core into the body of another party. From there, one can help the other party to circulate their soul power. However, the only requirement is that both parties need to have extremely compatible soul power. Wutong's soul core is also light type. It's also her radiant butterfly goddess soul power. There's only one way for her to most easily form her second soul core right now, which is through spiritual power. Your spiritual power is sufficiently strong too. This is why we need you to project your spiritual soul core into her spiritual sea and help her form her second soul core. From there, you can complete the formation using the yin-yang complement. Do you understand? Are there any risks? Huo Yuhao asked. Yes. The thing about this method is that it helps the other party, but it harms yourself. Wutong isn't in much danger. As long as you are determined enough, the probability of success will be high. However, you might lose your soul core in the process. You might even hurt your origin because of the internal damage to your soul cores. The worst result is that you'll become an idiot. Even if you don't, your powers will fall greatly. You might not ever become a titled Douluo in the future. Nui Tian said. This is why you should consider it very carefully. Once we begin, it's going to be very difficult to stop. Stopping it will instantly endanger Wutong's life. Huo Yuhao stood up and shook his head. There's no need to consider anymore. Let's begin. Titan said, you must think it through carefully. Any injuries will be irreversible. Your twin soul cores are bound to be affected. According to my knowledge, you are the first human in history to complete the formation of yin-yang complement twin soul cores. It's likely that no one will follow in your footsteps either. Uncle Titan, Uncle Nui Tian, let's stop wasting time. If we delay any further, Wutong's body will be corroded even more by the aura of death. Let's begin now. As long as we can make Wutong better, I can even give you my life. Let's not even talk about lowering my cultivation. However, I have something that I need both your help with. Nui Tian said, tell me. There was a determined look in Huo Yuao's eyes. If I become an idiot in the process, please kill me immediately before dumping my corpse. We don't need Wutong to see me in that state. Just tell her that I left her after sending her here. Titan was curious. Why? Huo Yuhao answered, with her temperament, she'll want to take care of me forever if I become an idiot. She'll never be happy or blissful ever again. She'll be hurt if she knows I left. However, her pain will lessen over time, but she must never know I'm dead. Otherwise, it'll only backfire. This is why I hope both of you can grant me this wish. After hearing his words, Nui Tian and Titan looked at him with a gentler expression on their faces. Nui Tian nodded and said, all right, I promise. Huo Yuhao said, let's begin then. Is there food to eat? I want to grab a bite and take a rest first so that I'll be in my best state. I must help Wutong recover. Titan said, let me bring you some food. Huo Yuhao ate scrumptiously and didn't bother about taste at all. Right now, he only saw food as a way to replenish his energy. After eating, he meditated a little. After 2 hours, he finally reappeared in front of Titan. Nui Tian had disappeared somewhere. Once again, Titan asked Huo Yuhao whether he was regretful. after receiving a determined answer, he led Huo Yuhao to the top of the castle. They only stopped when they reached the top floor. There was only one room at the top. There were 4 windows around the room. The sea of clouds outside the castle could be clearly seen from this room. As the clouds drifted in the sky, it felt as if this was some kind of immortal realm. Tang Wutong was quietly lying down at the center of a large bed. She appeared very peaceful, as if she was in a deep sleep, but she looked very pale, and there was even an aura of death surrounding her body. The death god demon puppet's attack was simply too strong. It was a miracle that she had actually survived. Huo Yuao's face immediately contorted when he saw her. Whether it was Wang Donga or Tang Wutong, they had both suffered a lot for him. Even Huo Yuhao didn't know how he could face Wang Donga or Tang Wutong. If this carried on, he might actually go crazy. As a man, instead of protecting his own woman, he let her get critically hurt because of him. Such a feeling was very consuming. Huo Yuhao was in such pain. When he heard of this method to save Tang Wutong, he actually felt relieved in his heart. It was as if he had been freed from restraints. So what if he had to sacrifice his abilities for her? Huo Yuhao turned his head to look at Titan. Uncle Titan, how do we start? Titan said, sit opposite Wutong. I'll lift her up. Your palms must touch. Then, I'll give you instructions on what to do. All right. Huo Yuhao gave Titan a hand in lifting Tang Wutong. They placed her in a seated position. Her head drooped, and her pinkish blue hair flowed down. Huo Yuhao couldn't help but tear up when he saw like this. As their palms touched, his palms shook slightly. Cleanse your mind of impurities. Otherwise, you'll harm both her and yourself. Titan's voice sounded in Huo Yuao's ears. Huo Yuhao was immediately alarmed. He hurriedly focused and stabilized himself. Titan said, pour your soul power into Wutong's body slowly. Entangle your soul power with hers. After we control the aura of death and restrain it, it'll be less chaotic, even though the resistance will be even stronger. Once you fuse your soul power into her, the aura of death will certainly circulate into your body through your soul power. If you want to complete this method, you must possess an aura of death too. Huo Yuhao circulated his soul power and slowly fused it with the aura of death in Tang Wutong's body. The entire fusion process was very slow. The aura of death wasn't very domineering. While it flowed into Huo Yuao's body, it wasn't doing so very smoothly. This was because Huo Yuao's twin soul cores were simply too strong. His soul power was shaped like a whirlpool. Once the aura of death entered his body, it was immediately swept away. Thanks so much for watching this video. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Also leave a comment down below with suggestions on what novels to read.